Their Eyes has been delighting audiences for over 17 years. And in 1998, the doors opened to reveal a new type of contestant, the celebrity.
It's not about who you are, it's about who you want to become for just those 3 minutes.
The audience screamed, because there I was standing like a tart in leather, frankly.
Since then, over 150 of our favourite faces have sung as their musical icons.
I felt Pavarotti in me. It wasn't about Brian Blessed, I was a servant to it.
But how did they perfect the performance of a lifetime?
I was prowling like a caged animal.
I literally sing like a pet shop on fire.
What did they look like?
I looked like an overstuffed condom, frankly, or a great big liver sausage.
I look like Esther Ransom trying hard. To me.
And what happened when it all went wrong?
Sorry about that, let me bum.
Secrets of Celebrity Stars in Their Eyes has all the answers. Long before famous faces danced on ice, took Bush Tucker trials and competed in celebrity sing-offs, we saw Harry Hill sing as Morrissey.
I would go out tonight, but I haven't got a stitch to wear.
Supermodel Rachel Hunter become Marilyn Monroe.
But diamonds are a girl's best friend.
And Al Murray as Neil Diamond.
Oh, I'm a believer, I couldn't leave her if I tried.
When they first suggested to me that they were going to do Celebrity Stars in Their Eyes, I was dead against it, because Stars in Their Eyes is about ordinary people becoming famous people.
Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
Annie Lennox.
Annie Lennox.
Robbie Williams.
Robbie Williams!
How can you put famous people in that position? What's in it for them? What's in it for the public? How is that going to be a success?
But what I found out from it was that as those celebrities go through those doors, the immortal portals, as we would have it, in that moment they become ordinary people.
It's quite humanising to see that mask of professionalism drop, because a lot of people who do it are absolutely terrified, you know, and find it a really tough thing to do.
The public really took to it and were fascinated to see what these people were going to be like.
It's so interesting to take somebody that you know and love for doing one certain thing, putting them through those smoky doors and then them coming out the other side, and you turn around and go,
Lots of celebs would watch the show as well and similarly have dreams of being their favourite pop star, their favourite singer. And of course some of them were good, some of them were bad, just like, you know, normal members of the public, no different there, and probably just as nervous, if not more so, weirdly.
The very first show, broadcast on the 12th of December 1998, saw over 16 million people watch Carol Vorderman, Frank Skinner and 5 Coronation Street stars change the face of celebrity TV forever.
Tonight, Matthew, we're gonna be the Spice Girls!
Elvis Army is here to stay. Elvis Army on their way.
It's different nowadays because there are a lot of, you know, shows where celebrities do things. This was the very first one, and it just started to dawn on me just how big a deal it was. Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Cher.
Cher!
Up until that point, I think on television, people had only ever seen me in sort of straight outfits, you know, black trousers and a top kind of thing for Countdown or science programmes or whatever it might have been.
When she walked through the door, the audience was so shocked that they screamed.
Because there I was, standing like a tart in leather, frankly. And they screamed, and then they started laughing. And of course, I was trying to listen to the backing track, which I'd been rehearsing to. Couldn't hear a thing. So I thought, I better start then.
Does he love me? I wanna know. How can I tell?
Oh, I couldn't hear you. It was so loud, I couldn't hear McHugh. It was an absolute disaster in the studio. It was a complete disaster. And then everything stopped, and I went backstage.
She tried for that note, and God bless her, she could not get it.
The embarrassment, it was awful. But anyway, she went back again. She tried again.
They still screamed and laughed.
How can I tell you what's this song?
Twice that happened. By which point I was so utterly terrified.
We were just praying that she was going to get it right at some stage because it was getting quite tricky for her.
But Carol kept going.
So I got home that night, and I swear to you, every night in bed at 3 a.m. until the programme was shown, I woke up bolt upright in a cold sweat. I couldn't get back to sleep.
Oh no, it's just his charms. Oh no, that's just his arms. If you wanna know if he loves you so, it's in his kiss.
And she blew everybody away. And in that moment, I knew that this show was a hit. Ha! Good girl.
It was a triumph, and Celebrity Stars in Their Eyes was born. Over the next decade, hundreds of famous faces would follow Carol through the doors. Still to come, what the stars do to prepare for the role,
Light a candle and come in, Marlena.
how soap stars are transformed into superstars.
I just looked like I had this massive big ice cream cone on my head.
And we've got more memorable moments in the secrets of Celebrity Stars in Their Eyes.
Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Bjork.
For almost 10 years, celebrities from the world of TV, radio and sport have battled it out to sound like their favourite singers. We saw Penny Smith become Debbie Harry. And soap legend Bill Roach as Perry Como.
Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Save it for a rainy day.
For many, it was a dream come true.
It was like, do you want to do it? Yes.
I did a gazelle jump straight out of bed.
Cool, yeah, I'd absolutely love to. What a great lark. What a fantastic jape.
Whilst it was my nightmare, it was Richard's dream. You'd always dream.
Jazz hands.
While for others, a bit of arm twisting was needed.
And don't have one doubt. There's no doubt. It's too late for doubt.
I was actually with Ken Branagh, as you know, doing the film As You Like It. I love challenge. I fear nothing. So I climb mountains like Everest, go to the North Pole, no end to my talents, go into space. And suddenly, you know, along they came and said, would I be Pavarotti? I said, no. And Branagh was in me, and you're supposed to be fearless. Ah, you've caught it this time, eh?
O sole mio, stai davanti a te, stai davanti.
But as one TV legend found, be careful what you wish for.
Here's a warning. Esther Rantzen, I met at a party
And I saw Matthew in the crowd, and I went up to him. I heard myself say,
Did you know I can do Edith Piaf?
and he looked at me as a snake looks at a rabbit that is saying, eat me, eat me.
I said, really? She said, yes, I can. I said, would you come on Celebrity Stars?
And I think I must have had drink take and said, well, I might do.
Well, within weeks she was on and in the studio going, I should never have said that to you at that party. I should never have done it. Anyway, she came up, and she is televisual royalty.
Quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle tout bas. Je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose.
Before the makeup team dust down the wigs, the celebrities have to decide who they're going to sing as.
Quite often when celebrities first get involved, they go, oh yeah, that would be a bit of a laugh. You know, they've done karaoke before, they've maybe had a couple of drinks, and they go, oh, I sound like Robbie Williams or Elvis Presley or whoever it may be.
Sian Lloyd's musical talents meant the choices were limited, and it was more a case of finding someone who sounded like her.
I literally sing like a pet shop on fire.
We had no idea what to do with Sian.
I am the first in the history of the programme who actually couldn't sing.
But we found her a song where she didn't have to sing at all, and she could just speak the words.
Deborah Strickland's Money, I Want Money. And I remember thinking, that's perfect, because she just chants her way through it.
The best things in life are free. But you can give them to the birds and bees. I want money. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want.
She wafted about with a feather boa. Who'd have thought a weather girl could become completely showbiz?
And very, very different from my normal demure pointing at maps and the whole ITN look.
You can't sing, can you? I think there's room for that on Stars, don't you?
For footballer David Ginola, a French sound-alike was needed.
We spent a lot of time with David Ginola trying to find someone he could do. He had the idea initially of doing Harry Connick Jr. We could see him sat behind the piano playing, and we thought that's going to be really good, until he sang with a French accent.
Add a dash of starlight and a dozen roses too, then let it rise for 100 years or two.
So I said to him, look, David, why don't we try somebody with a French accent?
They start to think about a replacement, and the replacement, of course, was Sacha Distel, who was a French crooner.
Raindrops keep falling on my head, just like the guy who's feet on to bed. Nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops keep falling on my head, they keep falling. So
I didn't like the wig, but anyway.
Well, I think what was quite interesting sometimes was when people used to come on being their own idol, when we'd already had ordinary people on the show being them.
Nobody does it half as good as you. Baby, you're the best.
So what's it like for a pop star to watch another star impersonate them? Well, 80s icon Kim Wilde has all the answers.
I was fortunate because I was home both times someone did me. There was a member of the public who did me I thought was rather good. But hands down, it was Nell McAndrew's performance of me, which is quite astonishing.
Looking out a dirty old window, down below the cars in the city go rushing by.
It was my idea to be Kim Wilde because a friend of mine had told me that I had a similarity to Kim Wilde. To master her dance moves, which were a bit like this, and but mainly it was to try and get the vocal right. So I hope I did some kind of justice.
Everybody lives for the music around.
Well, you know, she really reminded me of me when I was 20 years old when I did Kids in America, and she has clearly put a lot of work into it.
I'm not leaving now, honey, not a chance.
I did think about Kim Wilde and what she would think, and I just thought that she'd probably think that was really rubbish.
She'd done her homework, it was obvious, because, I mean, she had me fooled for a little while. That's saying something.
Even very famous singers clearly have their musical heroes, or clearly would sometimes perhaps like to be someone else.
Jarvis Cocker walking out as Rolf Harris, which was I mean, it was just insane. It was one of those moments where you went, is that Jarvis Cocker?
He probably thought, yeah, I'll go and do it. I'll be nice and ironic, but he was just the same as anyone else when he got on there and did Rolf Harris. You know, he was just like anyone doing Kylie Minogue or anything like that.
Did you think I would leave you crying when there's room on my horse for two? Climb up here, Jack, and don't be crying. I can go just as fast with two.
I thought, well, you've got a lot of credibility to lose, you know, and it's not easy to do Rolf Harris either. But he'd really studied it. And he had a little stylophone. And he learned to play it, especially with the show.
Artists get very, very nervous about covering other artists' songs in case that other artist was to see them doing it. You know, they always want to feel like they've done a good job.
In a way, with Boy George, you know, you kind of expect him to like Stars in Their Eyes because it's all about dressing up and putting as much makeup on as possible.
Here's a star, man waiting in the sky. He's told us not to blow it, cause he knows it's all worthwhile. He told me, let the children lose it, let the children use it, let all the children move it.
He really has a degree in David Bowie. He's fantastic at it. He knows everything there is to know about it, studied the man since he was a child, and he won.
My legs are shaking. I'm almost falling off these heels.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Girls, I don't know how you do it.
Boy George may have mastered his impression of David Bowie, but others needed help perfecting their performance.
And they'll keep stopping and starting sort of shots. So.
Choreography for a celebrity on Stars in Their Eyes is far from about dance steps. In fact, that's probably the last port of call. A celebrity will come into a rehearsal room and it's about giving that person confidence and being able to go through the doors, the no man's land of smoke, and go out and sing live.
I do wonder sometimes if I should have done what the choreographer suggested and I went along with it, which was at one stage straddle the microphone, I suppose, and wiggle my bum. And when I saw the cameras go behind me, I thought, uh-oh, should I be doing this? That's a very large picture of a rather large bum, but there you go.
Mel and Sue, now there's a lovely double act. OK, unfortunately, they didn't make it to the rehearsal room. Therefore, you know, I didn't meet them until they hit studio. So they'd practiced by themselves.
Because we're doing a song from Chess. So the idea was they have a chessboard as the floor, as the set, and that we'd walk diagonally, and that's where the problems really began.
And they start to do the moves, and they just start laughing.
They choreographed it so that we could see each other, which was our downfall. So we did, on the day of the actual filming, we did about 5 runs at it, didn't we? And we just could not get through.
Every time I was on the floor laughing.
They really struggled. They went to their comfort zone. We're going to laugh, you know. So I just said, you can't do this.
And I thought, oh, hello, this is actually a bit serious. It's not going to be us just
hoofing about.
Yeah. And eventually, I had to change where they were supposed to look at each other. In other words, instead of looking at each other's profile, I would make them look diagonally past each other in order to stop them laughing.
Because I'd see this Thatcherite sort of head come towards me, and out of the corner of your eye, you just see it coming, and you've got to cross on this precise bit of the checkers board.
Mate, it was the end, the final line, which is I know him so well. So we were both facing out to the audience, and then we had to go, I know him.
But it went like this. You're looking at an idiot. You are just looking at. I mean, and she's looking at she's looking at, you know, a Barbary sort of sheep. And I'm looking at Margaret Thatcher with a pearl necklace.
Wasn't it good? Oh, so good. Wasn't he fine? Oh, so fine. Isn't it madness? He won't be mine.
They realised they had to pull it together, and they got through it. Don't know how, but they managed it.
For many of the stars, performing live on stage takes dedication, as most of them will be singing in front of an audience for the very first time.
Oh, that was rubbish.
Let us be honest about this. Celebrities who come on Celebrity Stars in Their Eyes are booked because they're celebrities, the clue being in the title, not because they have great singing voices. And frankly, you know, I'm not being funny, but actually, I'm being funny. Some of them were quite funny.
Back is our week, with plenty of currency. We'd open up the safe, but we forgot where we put the key.
I get presented with people of varying abilities, singing-wise. So people who've never sung before.
You're the lady, you're the lady.
To people who are great singers.
Stand up front, TNT! And God, oh my God!
Singing in tune is the most important thing, but if we can already do that and we can actually go for the impression, then that is a fabulous bonus.
She asked us to sing, and so we were just, but then having to do scales and la 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 la. What? Yeah. You are very good at that. She did a lot of that.
She didn't have that much time with us, though, because she was sort of
No,
saying...
she didn't have that much time for us.
For us.
I think it was the thing.
But she was saying things like, you know, breathe from your diaphragm, use your
Brian
stomach.
Blessed says breathe from the colon, which is interesting.
But he's a proper singer, though, as well. You see, we were novices.
At the time, I had an apartment in Manchester, and the walls were like paper thin, and I'm sure the neighbours must have thought, does this woman ever do anything normal? They must have thought I was a complete loony living next door to them. And also, I sang Cher's Strong Enough, and I played it over and over and over and over and over again. They must have thought, she's got the worst taste in music. She just doesn't listen to anything else.
Miss Head Girl here, hostess with the mostess as she is on GMTV, you were warbling and doing your scales in the dressing room next door to mine, and those walls are wafer thin. And I thought, are you really taking this seriously?
I was so
I know
scared.
I stand in line until you think you have the time to spend an evening with me. Then afterwards we drop into a quiet little place and have a drink or two.
I can't sing, can I? What a time to discover it. I was really practising. I found it very hard. I was desperate not to let you down.
They all take it very seriously. It's their opportunity to come on Stars in Their Eyes and actually enjoy doing something and being good at something, you know, for which they're not known.
Being given this song by Annie Lennox, you know, was a real challenge.
No more I love yous. Language is leaving me.
I think the thing I kept thinking was, what if Annie's watching? Oh my God, can't let her down, can't let her down. It's pathetic, isn't it? Like Annie Lennox is sitting there having a bag of crisps and a glass of wine watching me do her.
But someone who was watching and offering words of wisdom was Italy's biggest export, Luciano Pavarotti.
Pavarotti sent me a message. I hear you're doing me. I hear that you are doing me. It says, Luciano Pavarotti. I said, Maestro, Maestro. I said, very pleased, very honoured. Seen your films, fantastic. Sing vowels. Only sing the vowels. The gold will be there. So I sang it over the telephone to him. Bravo, bravo, that's it. I sang it on the telephone to him. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Thank you, bravo. I sang it to him on the telephone.
Quando fa noci il sole se scende.
Coming up, how a TV legend became a film icon.
Julie Goodyear has disappeared. Marlena existed.
What really happens behind those doors.
You are so terrified you think you're going to die.
And the secrets of stars' slip-ups.
Sorry about that, let me bum.
My voice just went completely AWOL. I didn't know what was happening to it.
Celebrity Stars in Their Eyes has been putting our favourite faces through their musical paces for nearly a decade. While Dallas star Charlene Tilton became Madonna,
I just like things a little rough, and you better not disagree.
football manager Terry Venables substituted himself for Anthony Newley.
Kind of lips are these that glide with every kiss.
And as stars like Terry found out, stage fright and nerves can hit even the most seasoned pros.
Because it's all about the front of house. It's spangly, it's glittery, it's fantastic. It's all about what the audience sees. Backstage, it doesn't matter that we're all sweating and panicking.
It's probably the same for every single contestant, and everybody thinks that their experience is unique, but you stand behind that door the first time and you are so terrified you think you're going to die.
10 seconds.
Okay, no dance, Anne. Go for
No,
it.
no, no,
yeah?
all right, yeah, definitely.
Good.
5 seconds. Eyes up. Yeah.
It truly was the most terrifying night of my life.
Playing on Stars in Their Eyes is like being put up against the wall and facing the firing squad. I found it terrifying.
I feel sick. No, I'm a bit nervous too.
yeah.
How do you feel?
Sick. Similar.
I'm sweating that much with nerves.
I don't remember any words. I don't remember the tune. Who are you? Help me!
I remember turning to the woman who did have the headset on and going, "What's my first line? What's my first line?" Singing live. It's Richard. Wow, what's it?
Everybody who's really nervous thinks they're getting glandular fever, tonsillitis, sore throat.
Honey and lemon.
My throat's really hot.
Your mouth goes dry. Mine was like a desert.
Oh, I could just drink a pint of lager.
My heart was pounding. That is the moment when you think, why am I doing this? Why did I agree?
I was behind the scene and I was waiting and I say, "Hey, no, David, you know, no, leave me alone. I didn't want to go on." This has cost tens of thousands of pounds to stage, and it all depends, Eamon, on your performance. No pressure there, then.
But before they even utter a note, there's one last hurdle for the stars to overcome: the legendary doors themselves.
Behind the scenes, before you go through the doors, and I don't think a lot of people know this, there's a huge ramp
of about 3 metres that only covers about a foot. So it's literally like climbing a mountain.
3, 2, 1, and it's like
And there was,
heaving her
a
up the ramp.
job of one young man, probably his first job in television and almost certainly possibly his last, who had to bend down and from the rear push me up the ramp.
Yes, to get through the dry
To
ice.
get it, yeah. Imagine going home and saying, "What did you do today?" Push Kate Garraway up the stage by her backside.
That's
Brilliant.
work experience for you.
So once you've got through the trough of mist, obviously that's the point you centre yourself, and part of what we've been told to do in rehearsals was just to take a beat, take a moment, and Mel took that moment and then delivered her first note, which for me really made us do so
I'm
well,
sorry.
which was this.
Wasn't it good? Oh, so good. Wasn't he fine?
God, that first note, I've had nightmares about that first note, mate, seriously.
I find it harder than doing King Lear, or I find it harder than being in Flash Gordon, or doing my Claudius, or even climbing Everest. It's the toughest thing I've ever done. And would my nerves make... Because if you miss a note, if you're going to miss the top note, you've had it.
Steiner
As I hit the top note, I let go this most amazing part. And but the audience didn't hear it. They were just, but Kat did. And she fell apart.
Soap legend Julie Goodyear gave mind, body and soul to become her icon, Marlene Dietrich.
Julie Goodyear doing Marlene Dietrich was amazing. You know, for the first time, she actually introduced acting into Celebrity Stars in Their Eyes.
I managed to combine the actress with the part, with the song, and everything else that went with it.
Julie had to work in her own way, so I had to take her lead, really. She was going for becoming Marlene, and my God, did she become Marlene. It got a bit scary.
But Marlene did not enter until I had my back to camera. So I had to go up the ramp, then I had to turn with my back to camera. For my sake, and Marlene's sake, it was like, whoa, schizophrenia's going on here, for her to come in. And if you watch very carefully, as I turn round, Julie Goodyear has disappeared. Marlena existed.
Falling in love again. Never want. What am I to do? I can't help it.
But once with Julie, Marlena didn't want to leave.
It took quite a few days, much to my surprise, to get rid of Marlena. She didn't want to go.
It wasn't until the music began to play that I actually felt taken out of myself, and the whole thing began to come naturally. And I left Esther Rantzen behind, and for that moment, I was so identifying with her and the song and the mood and all the things I'd practiced. Suddenly I didn't have to think about them anymore. And it was all coming naturally.
Il est rentré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur.
And then halfway through the song, I woke up and looked at the audience. Of course, I was singing in French. I hadn't a clue what I was saying. They were looking back at me in total bewilderment. It was a wonderful experience. I loved doing it.
But Esther was not the only star with the French connection. Uri Geller let paranormal powers intervene.
Hey. In order for me to amass my willpower to go through this, I used, I guess, paranormal abilities. And I stared into the crowd and I connected to Charles Aznavour. I believe I really did it mentally. I reached him in France, and I did it.
She may be the reason I survive, the why and wherefore I'm alive.
When I done it, it was like a billion elephants off my shoulder. I was holding the mic so hard that I thought my microphone will bend.
Whilst Yuri's sound-alike impression was uncanny, it would be nothing without a look to match from the glamorous world of makeup and costume.
Costumes and the makeup are a huge part of the whole transformation, and actually so many people do turn around and go, I don't look anything like this person and I don't particularly sound like them, but the minute they go into hair and makeup, the transformation happens.
I think the viewers like to see a complete transformation so that they're actually looking at the character that they're being and thinking that is Madonna or that is David Bowie.
Very often somebody had come in and they were nothing like the star they were going to be. And when you looked at the pictures, you think, how the heck are we going to do that? But there's always a way. Mostly there were wigs, obviously, and facial hair if they needed it.
Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Madonna.
Madonna! Tonight, Kat, I'm going to be Roy Wood from Wizard.
Tonight, Matthew, I am going to be Roy Orbison.
Roy Orbison!
You have to make sure that they go out there feeling good about themselves. They've got to look nice. They've got to look how they perceive the character to look.
When it comes to costumes, if somebody doesn't feel comfortable in it, they won't be able to perform as well. If you've made the celebrity feel okay and they feel all right, that is the main thing about it.
Glitz and glamour is everything to stars in their eyes, and it's the costume department that adds that all-important sparkle.
In the complete run of all the celebrities together, I'd say we've had 6,000 metres worth of fabric. When it comes to the rhinestones, stroke sequins, 10 million upwards. Beads, oh God, beads. You'd be talking 8, 9, 10,000. And it depending on what show it is and how glitzy we have got.
But sometimes celebrities have their own view on how they think they should look.
I want something red and sexy, and so they made a great dress for me. It was really red with buckles and God knows what, quite punky.
We cheated. We made Jenny feel good in it. So it's not really 100% Blondie, but it's sort of designed in the style of Blondie. Jenny insisted that she had some form of slit going up the front of the skirt, just to show a bit of leg.
It was great fun. And then we got the wig going, big blonde wig with the dark bits down here. So the whole dressing up process, it was like being in a, you know, a kid's game. It was great.
July 1806, we set sail from the sweet golden corn. I was sailing away with a cargo of bricks from the Grand City Hall in New York. 'Twas a wonderful...
But what happens when a star wants to dress down and be Pogue's frontman Shane MacGowan?
I think most people, like me initially, want to make themselves more glamorous, not less. Really, so I think they were quite intrigued by that, really. No offence, Shane, you know, I mean, he's a terribly glamorous man in real life, obviously, when he puts his teeth in.
But despite all the preparation, it doesn't always go to plan.
They got this really expensive wig, and they'd ordered it. And when it came, it didn't fit my head, right? And I just looked like I had this massive, big ice cream cone on my head with 2 ringlets coming round. I looked like a poodle. It was ridiculous. I couldn't have looked anything less like Dolly Parton if I'd have tried. Because Dolly Parton is such a popular character on Stars in their eyes, they had like a Dolly Parton box of wigs. So I think I ended up wearing one from one circa 1997, you know, and she got through, came second or something, and I had hers.
With Vanessa, to tell you the truth, the song and the look and the style we went for, it would do nobody any favours.
The outfits were positively hideous. Matthew, who's tall and thin, was playing Renato, who's huge and fat, so he had to wear a sort of Russ Abbott-style fat suit, which added enormously to his suffering. And I am really fat, and I had to play Rene, who was actually incredibly slim, so I just looked really fat in a hideous pink dress. I looked like an overstuffed condom, frankly, or a great big liver sausage. By the time the actual performance hoved into view, neither of us could believe how terrified we were.
You just looked at it and you thought, it looks awful, but in fact, it's right.
Darling, I will love you endlessly, even though you're far away from me. I can't forget the words I told you, how it felt to love and hold you. Love like ours will last eternally.
I seemed to crumble fatly into a sort of wet lump of blotting paper. My voice just went completely AWOL. I don't know what was happening to it.
Oh, I love you still.
And it was all over before you'd started. Never has time been so kaleidoscope.
Save your love for Roma and for me.
Just like Vanessa, many of the celebrities find their performance didn't go to plan. And despite the polished programme we see on TV, the Stars in Their Eyes stage has seen a fair few foul-ups.
On my first run-through doing Walk of Life, I went straight out, did the walk they taught me, went up to the mic and just went boom, straight in with my teeth, whacked it off the mic. The whole time I was thinking, is my lip actually swelling up here?
Sharing the stage with Colin that night was Yvette Fielding.
Yvette Fielding is 2 things: a lovely girl and absolutely off her head.
And I can't stop talking.
She was so nervous going on.
It was certainly a disaster in my performance. While the boy dancers were sort of prancing around in their tutus, then throwing petals, we also had petals falling from the ceiling as well.
There was one bit where she went, no, and all these rose petals went into her mouth and near choked her to death, which isn't that funny, really.
Language is leaving me in silence. No more.
Sorry. I think I swore and then sort of laughed and then carried on. But the whole audience were laughing as well. They found it funny.
But it was just funny because it went in your mouth. It was just
Did you see me laughing?
Yeah,
Did you see
but
me
it's
smiling?
funny.
Oh.
good,
brilliant.
I think if I was to do a top 5 of all the people who've been on Celebrity Stars in Their Eyes, you got to start with Vicky Entwistle doing Björk, because that was just mental.
This guy is gorgeous, I got it, there's no mistake, this is it!
Vicky is a real trooper, you know. She's a perfectionist, worked really hard.
Someone had obviously told her, look, Björk's a bit mad, just go out there and just act mental. And she took it to heart and just went even crazier than Björk is.
And she stood back up and it was like, I'm fine, you know. Hand, I think, was bleeding at the time. It's fine, I'll do it again, it's absolutely fine. And off she went, and she did, I think, an amazing job.
Sorry about that, hurt me bum.
Golly, Miss Mama.
You're not doing your job properly.
Still to come, what the stars really thought of their performance.
To this day, if you talk to him, he's sick as a pig.
And will we ever see Carol Vorderman sing again?
Never mind, Cass. There's always countdown.
Celebrity Stars in Their Eyes has challenged over 150 of our favourite faces to sing like a superstar. And now that the stars have given everything, all that remains is for them to bask in the glory.
There's usually a shot on Stars in Their Eyes, isn't there, where you do a shot to the mother and she's so proud, like crying. And there's a shot of my mother and she's biting the carpet laughing. She can't control herself. I mean, I thought she was going to wet herself. She was laughing that much. And I thought, oh, cheers, Mum. I thought you'd be emotionally, like, happy about your daughter singing. It just looked so ridiculous. And I couldn't help it then. I started camping it up.
Is here you come again. And here I go.
My dad couldn't actually breathe for about 2 minutes. He was just going... He couldn't take breath. He was laughing
Whereas my mum just felt pride that I was wearing high-heeled shoes and a skirt.
There was a shot after my performance of my entire family who had brought over, so it was mums and sisters, and they were all happy, clapping. And there is my nephew in the back of the shot like this, 12 years old. And the look of disgust on his face that he's been made to be in TV while his uncle embarrasses him.
I remember being backstage with Lisa Riley, and we were rubbish. And I remember us being both equally as rubbish. And we were just taking the mickey, because they do a camera shot to you going, I wonder if you're going to win. It's like, do. And me and Lisa were like that, as if we're going to win.
And the winner is Kylie Minogue!
Oh, God, it was brilliant. I loved it. I'd do it again tomorrow, but they haven't asked me back since. I don't know why.
And for some of the stars, the drama didn't end when they came off stage.
We had to get a fast car back from Manchester. We finished taping about 12 o'clock. So we got home, about 4? And that meant you had to go straight to do the news hour.
To do the news hour. So from 1 minute, I was Nancy Sinatra. The next minute, I was saying, but Prime Minister, you must tell me.
She was doing this with this lacquer frenzy, this beehive that people were trying to flatten down.
Poor director was trying to reframe the camera big enough to keep my hair in shot.
Being on with Eamon Holmes was fantastic. However, he's a Man United fan, I'm a Liverpool fan, and he sang Johnny Cash Ring of Fire.
I fell into a burning ring of fire.
He suddenly just casually announces to me, well, you know that song you're singing? He says, that's a Liverpool anthem.
Little did he know that 9 months later, Liverpool would win the European Cup.
And their anthem turned out to be Ring of Fire, as delivered by Man U supporter Eamon Holmes.
And to this day, if you talk to him, he's sick as a pig that he did Johnny Cash Ring of Fire.
And just when our stars thought the ordeal was over, they have to relive every nerve-wracking moment at home.
We all gathered round to watch it. It went out a month after we'd recorded it.
We got the whole family squashed onto the sofa in the front room, and on it came.
I said, I cannot watch myself sing it. I've got to go out the room. So I had to go out, and I sat in the kitchen. I said, come and tell me when it's over.
I went out because I thought, if I go out and invite everyone else, they won't watch.
Mum was literally jumping up and down on the sofa, which normally she reserves for, being at the bingo.
I have to admit, when I came in, it was a sort of feeling of dread, but they all said, wow, you were so cool. We all thought you were really good. So, it was good.
I sat down next to my cousin Pam, and she put her hand on my knee and she said, never mind, Cass. there's always Countdown.
And when Davy Ginola returned to his day job, the fans gave an extra warm welcome from the terraces.
It was the following game after this program was a home game at White Hart Lane, and when I came on the pitch, you have the whole crowd singing "Raindrops keep falling on my."
I got a lot of emails to the radio show, sort of independent of each other, and a few people said, you know, Shane MacGowan did sound suspiciously Cornish in places, didn't it? And when I looked back at it, he did sound a bit Cornish or something. Still won though, eh?
Whether appearing on the show has been a dream come true or a fear finally faced, one thing's for sure, all the celebrities are delighted they did it.
I have had 2 frightening moments in my life. One was playing Dick Whittington in Bognor, and the other was being Edith Piaf in Stars in Their Eyes.
Everybody who took part deserve a medal. It requires immense courage.
It was not a good moment for me, and those who love me made damn sure never to mention it in my presence again.
At my age, anything goes, frankly.
I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
My memories are just laughter and fun and frolics.
I have never had so much laugh doing something without being drunk in my life.
I will never do it again. Never, ever do it again. But I am glad I did it.
It's like being a World Cup winner. When you've walked through those doors, nobody can take it away from you, even if you were terrible and looked like Bjorn Borg when you were doing it.
I think it was extreme bravery that was shown by all those people who went on the show. And I have nothing but admiration for them. Because I wouldn't do it, would you? Behave.